Hello, my name is Angelica Skinnura, and you're watching Duende Medina. Tonight, we're going to be checking out Older and Reckless at Dancemakers Center for Creation. Can you please tell us about tonight and all the wonderful work you've done?
Well, I can't believe that the series has been going on for next year's our 15th anniversary, and it just gets better all the time.
How has it changed? How has it developed?
It started out in the year 2000 when I was still choreographing, and I wanted a chance to look at my work in performance. I wanted to give the performers a chance to perform. In the very early stages, we didn't do the audience warm-up. It was really more of just a performance. We always had a little party after the show, though. I guess it's just developed because so many artists are interested in participating. So not just contemporary dance, but we've had African dance, we've had Indian dance, and dancers from different cultures, and some out-of-town people. We now invite, we've had artists from Nova Scotia, from Vancouver. We've had, on occasion, someone from New York here. So it's grown in that way. There were a lot of other people in the community that were also interested in more performing opportunities. So it just kept growing and growing, and it's a wonderful event, not only for the artists, because we get to reunite. We're often off in our own little worlds working, and we don't have a chance to really see each other much. So it's a chance for artists to meet together. It's a chance for artists to show their work, but it's also a chance for the audience to move. So we make sure that before every show there's an audience warm-up that's led by one of the artists on the program, and so they can shake it up a bit, and then they watch the show, and then there's a party afterwards where, as you can see, people are talking together about the work, and it's a lot of fun.
A little bit about yourself.
About me, I was raised in Venezuela, Mexico, Spain. I'm kind of a hybrid, even though I was born in Seattle, Washington. And I came to Toronto in 1994 to perform in the dance festival, and it ended up that I loved it. And it's been 20 years. And I perform with many choreographers, companies, and I do teach salsa, mambo, cha-cha-cha, the way it is back at home in Venezuela, so it's a lot of fun. That's the main thing.
You were teaching an audience warm-up today. Yes. Before the show. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Claudia Moore, the beautiful and wonderful Claudia Moore. She always loved to bring a surprise for the audience and make them participate. So it's something that they will remember even more so. So part of the Older and Reckless, every single night, she invites artists, teacher, who will just give them an ABC so that they can get a better taste of what it means to be dancing, moving, being in your body. So that's Claudia's idea in general.
Tell us a bit about yourself and your history as a dancer and how tonight's project came to fruition.
Well, I've been dancing for a long, long time. I danced for about 19 years with the Toronto Dance Theatre, so a big history in this city. I'm now dancing in Guelph with Dance Theatre David Earl. David was one of the founders of Toronto Dance Theatre, and he now has a company of his own in Guelph, and we're dancing. Michael Sean Marie and I danced together for many, many years at the Toronto Dance Theatre, so we have a big history of dancing together.
Did you have an idea for subject matter or come up with choreography first? How did it develop for you?
Well, a couple of things. He had music. He had the piece of music that he had for a long time and wanted to do something too, so we had that to start with. And then he started with a number of movement phrases that we learned, and then together we just started morphing them. They were things that we learned on our own, and then we started to figure out how we could put them together and turn it into a duet, and what if we did this kind of in canon, and what if we tried to connect while we were doing this phrase, and you know, and it just grew out of that kind of collaboration, yeah.
You are a legend. You are. Can you please tell us about yourself?
I don't know where to start. Person, dancer. I'm originally from Singapore. I kind of grew up there and then moved here to go to school and never left because Canada is amazing.
Tell us about the piece you performed today with Robert.
Well, this is a piece that I wanted to have a piece for Robert and myself, and I was really in awe of Ted Robinson, and we really didn't know each other. All three of us really hadn't worked together. I had danced with Ted in a dance company, but mostly as an ensemble, but never together. Well, I decided to commission Ted, and he came into the studio, and the first thing he said was, I have this piece of music, the music that you hear, the Bach music. It was a really nuts rehearsal. It was tiring because he worked us really hard, but it was great. So, I mean, there isn't one step per count, but it felt like that when we were making it.
It's pretty close to one step per count. So you've also done work for film, as we were just discussing. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, well, my biggest film, I guess, in my little short history is in Silent Hill. I'm Grey Child, or Grey Children, because they did little composites of me. And it was fun. I had this whole suit.
It's the life of a movie star, darling. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your dance background and how you've come to be where you are today?
Okay, I am a contemporary African dancer, and using contemporary in the sense that I'm here right now and this is what I do. I started off my dance training in ballet and jazz, but it was West African that really made me whole. So once I started doing West African dance, because it taught me more than just technique, there were these rhythms and these songs and these languages that talked about my people before slavery, which really just brought something to my own being to help me pursue it. So, I mean, dance has been my thing, and that's what I do.
Tell us a little bit about the piece and where the idea came from.
The piece was written by Michelle Muir, who performed it with me, and it came about that she wrote the poem for a sister, a friend, and talking about Sunday love. And she has a whole book actually called Nuff Said. And that she wanted to put some movement as she was writing the poetry and recorded it. She felt the movement. So we got together and started working on Sunday Love.
You know, your legs may not be up here, but you've got soul. And you know, that's something that only comes with time, right? A lot of the time.
Well, we all have soul. We all have rhythm. It's just that people choose not to push it forward. But you're absolutely right. Soul and rhythm, and I love to move.
Can you please tell us a bit about yourself and what you did tonight in tonight's performance?
We had a lot of fun. That's what we did tonight. Claudia Moore, who is our producer for the show, came to Tim and I probably about 3 or so years ago, and she approached us about trying to do an event of hers, the Older and Reckless event. And at that time, I was thinking, well, maybe if I just put it off a couple of years, we'll eventually get to it. Well, sure enough, we said 2014, so here we are, and this is where we ended up. So that's pretty much how it came to be.
Do you fancy yourself to be more of a musician or more of a dancer? How is the balance in your life, and what do you prefer?
It's impossible for me to say that I prefer one or the other because I started singing and playing instruments and guitar when I was quite young. I was probably about 7 to 8 years old when I first started singing. 10 years old, and I started playing instruments, guitar particularly. The dancing didn't really start until I was a little bit older, probably 12 or 13 years old, which is late for a boy. But really for me, they've always been sort of a fusion of love and a fusion of involvement for my life and pretty much everything that I've done. So everything is sort of on an even keel with me. And this is wonderful to have an opportunity like this to be able to do all of these things that I love with so many people that I love as well.